Hey, everybody, we are live, LinkedIn Live here. Scott Taylor, the Data Whisperer, thrilled and excited to be talking to you from Data Whisperer World Headquarters in the Datatorium room with my special masking behind me so you don't see all the knickknacks. High atop the Data Whisperer World Headquarters in Fairweather Towers and Resort in beautiful Black Rock Harbor, Connecticut, on the shores of the Herman Beach. Thrilled today to be talking about, I'll just say it, my favorite event of the year, the Master Data Marathon, MDM2, MDM2. We're doing it again. Why are we doing it again? Same reason we did it last time, because we're nuts about that great data, master data that we all love. And the ThinkLinker folks are the only ones who can pull this off. I'm not challenging the rest of the world here, but who else is crazy enough to try and do this? I will check to make sure we are live. We've got a couple of great guests. This is the Nerd and Ninja edition of LinkedIn Live with the on the Master Data Marathon. There's a nice crawl down on there on the bottom. Give me just a moment. So we've got Pedro and Monica coming. Both of them, the Nerd. I'll let you figure out who's the Nerd, who's the Ninja. They've got their own personal branding, which is important. So sharing a few things, the Master Data Marathon, that is the topic of the day. There it is. I prefer this one better. Why would I prefer this view better? Master Data Marathon 2.0, one world, one people, one data, March 24th and 25th, of course. We want them both. Let's see some comments here. Let us know where you're joining in from. Brazil's coming in. We've got Natalia making sure, yes, Natalia, it works. We've got your profile picture. Hooray. Hey, Scott and a few other folks. Love to see everybody. Let us know where you're joining in from. Let us know what kind of questions you want us to cover. I'm always here talking about the truth. The truth is, at this point, I need a haircut. That's what the truth is. That's why I'm wearing these hats these days. Probably the biggest reason. Master Data Marathon 2.0. We're going to go 24 hours in a row, by the way, in a row. We went 25 hours and 9 minutes last time. I'm not claiming we're going to try and break that record, but it was sure fun. It went by. It didn't go by in a flash. It was a crazy night. So we cannot wait. And at least this time we know we can do it. Last time we didn't really even know for sure we could get it done. I don't know about you, but when's the last time you stayed up all night working? Not just, drinking and carousing and partying, but when did you stay up all night working, trying to be focused, have conversations with people that have some sort of meaning? There's no way to practice. There was no way to practice. We just had to realize we've got that unending energy and gumption to just say, let's get it done. So it was a blast. We're going to do it again. Right afterwards, we said we've got to do this again. And so we are doing it again, March 24th and 25th, around the world, around the clock, one data, one world, one people, the Master Data Marathon 2.0, brought to you by the wonderful folks at ThinkLinkers. We'll show you a couple of previews here. Oh, we got some speakers. Let's take a look at our speakers. We got some great folks. Pedro and Monica will be joining us today. We've got Yarek, formerly of BAT. He's got a new role now. Nicola Askham, the data governance coach. We got George Farrakhan. We got all our friends and more coming in. I'm just looking at this whole list. Peter Kapoor, awesome guy. Peter Kapoor is a metadata expert. He never metadata he didn't like. And he told me the Fight Club rule for metadata when you talk about metadata to the business. So his Fight Club rule is when you talk, the key to talking about metadata to the business is not to talk about metadata to the business. I think there's a lot of value in that for sure. Orlando in the house, Kenya, New York, Africa. Look at this. I always love this. Oh, Michelle Wood. I got to give a shout out to Michelle Wood. Michelle Wood wrote a song to the tune of Imagine about better data that, Michelle, we haven't been able to connect on this. So this is live, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing this right now. I think we've got to sing that. I think we've got to produce that somehow and get that song out on LinkedIn. I don't want to start to butcher it by trying to remember the lines, but it was, imagine all the data. It was great. Beautiful. A tremendous amount of work for it was just a comment. So that's a lot of work there. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Hello, LinkedIn user. Belgium in the house. Netherlands not too far away. And you're welcome, Michelle. Keep it up. Keep that running up. You've definitely got talent. Dubai. Hello, Dubai. Love to see everybody coming in. What else did I have to tell you? So we got these wonderful speakers. They're going to be talking all day, all night, master data, the data you know and love. What was really fun about last time, and we are certainly hoping we're going to get it this time, was the kind of camaraderie and I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted here by my monitor. See if I'm making sure we're live. We are live, yes. This kind of almost party atmosphere, not almost party atmosphere, the literal party atmosphere we had online, which is really hard to reproduce in a virtual environment, but people were hanging in there the whole time. We're going to have all kinds of prizes, acknowledgments. We're going to do something for those folks who marathon with us. So let your boss know you've got to sign up for the Pro Pass. Get our speakers. Zip right to that. The Pro Pass, you got to sign up for the Pro Pass, which is 24-hour access and then access to the recordings afterwards. So in case you're not off a little bit, but the Pro Pass is on sale right now. MDM30 is the discount code. No funny stuff. Don't put MDM100. It's not going to work. We've got our well-bit AI machine learning algorithms making sure nobody messes around with those discount codes. MDM30 gets you 30% off the Pro Pass. It's the only way to go. It's the only way to go. Some of the topics: data storytelling, becoming a master of data, the human dimensions of master data, strategy, soft skills, hard skills, AI and MDM, driving decisions with data, delight or disaster, dangers of dirty data. Oh, I wonder who's doing that one. Obviously, Susan Walsh, the classification guru. Data literacy, all your favorite topics, and the kinds of expertise and folks we've got on here are really, I think, unrivaled. It is the only 24-hour event that I know of, much less a data event. You've got to join us. And our wonderful partners, we could not do it without the partners. We're not pretending we can do it without the partners. Synity, who Pedro will be representing today, all kinds of great folks, more to come. So we're thrilled about our partners. We're thrilled about the topics, and we are mostly thrilled about giving you this wonderful discount here of 30% off the Pro Pass. Try it out. Go to the site. I think Natalia's got the right here. There you go. So Think Linkers. Just type it in, https://www. Well, you can figure out the rest for yourself, but there's where to find us on the interweb. And put that discount code in. If you're looking for rationale to support this expenditure to your business leaders, you're not going to get more value for 143.5 euros anywhere on earth for this kind of content that we're going to share from data practitioners, data experts, data leaders, data visionaries, data ninjas, and data nerds. We're coming on today. All kinds of data monikers are going to be joining us. Show me. I dare you to show me where you're going to get more value for 143.5 euros than the Master Data Marathon MDM 2.0. Nobody else can do it. We're the only ones who have done it. I'm not trying to challenge anybody else to do it. Stay out of there. This is our thing. We're keeping it real. And we loved it. We've got that party atmosphere. We've got that fun. We've got that excitement. We make master data fun. There's a quote for you. You don't see those words next to each other a lot. Master data and fun, those words don't often appear in the same sentence, but it does appear when we do it. So what else we got? I should bring somebody on, shouldn't I? I'm going to bring on Pedro, the data ninja right now. Did I finish all my slides? Did I finish our commercial? Yes. 43.5 euros. MDM 30. Be sure to join us. Now, for our first contestant, coming in live from wherever he's coming in from, I think the Great White North. Whoops. There you are. Pedro, how are you, man? Nice to
I'm
see
doing
you.
great, Scott. How are you? Let's put
Wonderful.
the fun in data. I love the intro.
Yes. Let's put the fun in data.
Is
So Pedro, the data ninja from Cinity. Pedro, why don't you give people an idea who you are, where you come from, what you do, why you're going to be, what you're going to be doing in the conference, what was 2020 about, why master data is important, how to talk to the business side, and then go from there.
absolutely. Let's do that in a tight 30 seconds, shall we? So, hey, excited to be here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm coming to you from the shores of Lake Ontario in cold and frigid Canada, just outside of Toronto, nestled in the borough of Georgetown. Just so
Nice.
you know exactly where I am. I'm in the Data Ninja lair here. I had the choice of the lair or the garage, but the data garage is a bit cold today, so I decided I would do it in here. So as Scott says, I work at an organization called Cinity. We are excited to be a Fire sponsor this year at MDM2. I like to do the French thing because we're bilingual up here. And this is the most epic event that anyone could imagine from a master data perspective. One, it's global. So just participating in this, as Scott mentioned, for me, this is not cost. This is all about value. The number of people I've talked to who attended last year, who had the Pro Pass, were able to take those learnings and share them internally with their employees, with their colleagues, with their customers. The value, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And I would say from a networking perspective, as the data ninja, and I sort of came on the scene around the time that the MDM conference was number one was coming online. I can tell you that the people that we have there, the connections that you make, and the learning that you will get from just not the day, but the every day thereafter is just incredible. So as Scott says, I work for an organization called Cinity. We talk about solving the world's greatest problems, so you don't have to. Of course, we make data fun. We're trusted by the global 2000s. We've been doing this for 25 years, over 700 data ninjas. That's all we do. Data. As Scott says, we've got to be nuts, right? That's all we do. Everything from data migration and data quality, right up the value chain to information management. Gartner says that we're the visionary. In the visionary quadrants, we take a metadata driven approach. Scott, you're going to love that. Metadata. And I love
metadata. Yes.
The best thing you can do about data is actually not talk about data sometimes. And the same thing with metadata, right? Don't talk about metadata. I'm about changing the conversation about data. That's something that, at Cinity, we are a software company. We have, one of the most amazing technology platforms for master data management, but it's not about the technology. It's also about the people and the process. It's about the how, right? Scott, some things you do, great. And I've just finished, here, always learning, always reading.
Awesome. Wonderful.
It's awesome. And, I'm in my next book here, Data Storytelling, which is also, awesome that, Brett Dykes has written.
Brett talks about telling stories with data. I talk about telling stories about data. I feel like there's room for both.
Absolutely.
For both. But they're all united with this idea of storytelling. So
it is absolutely. And as I said, again, over 700 data ninjas, everything from manufacturing, utilities, pharma. I often get asked, so who does your company, who's relevant for Cinity? It's like, do you have data? Yeah. Okay. We're relevant, right? That's
right.
As simple as it is.
I would say, enterprises that have relationships on Earth. Yeah. That's the scope. That's certainly the scope that I focus on. And, if you're an enterprise, and I think the enterprise part is, tongue in cheek, it is around the geography, at least Earth. But when Elon Musk opens up business on Mars, they're definitely going to have data problems too. But once you're an enterprise, that's when you get to a point where you've got these multiple systems, you've got differing definitions, you try to establish some form of standard, you've got lots of external data sources. That's when things start to get a little bit out of control. I mean, Meta Consulting, my little boutique consultant group, we're not an enterprise, so we have kind of things in hand. But when you start to get the kind of operational and analytical needs that enterprises have, you've got to put a data foundation in place. There really isn't any other way around it.
Yeah, and I describe often, Scott, the great work that you do, and often what we all need to do is, explaining and telling the story of the why around data and why data is important. I think of, all the work that I do is around, and our organization does, is helping organizations, tell the story about the how, really, writing the chapters and the details and writing that plot. I consider myself sort of at the intersection of IT and business. And for a long time, that was a lonely place. I've been at Cinity I've been at Cinity for 10 years now, over 10 years, which is a long time for, in a technology or, any company these days.
But there's a lot of jaywalking at that intersection. There's a lot of people running red lights at that intersection of business and IT. People don't hang out there too much. That's a busy corner.
It is a very busy corner now.
Yeah.
It is a very busy corner now. But when I started back, in the 90s, and I started like you when, I was about 10 years old, right? And, back then it was, interesting because, I came out of university, software engineer, electrical engineer, and I got a pretty rude awakening. One of my first jobs was writing a report to, display active customers, right? So, and this was, mainframe back end, right? We're talking COBOL, RPG, all that kind of fun stuff. And I remember, it was like day 4 and I was so proud of my report. And I went to my customer and I showed them the report and they said, this isn't right. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I used the fields in the system that indicate whether, customer's on hold or a customer is inactive. And they're like, yeah, we don't use that. You got to look in the description. You see all those things that say DNU, do not use. Yeah, you got to check for that. Oh, and sometimes we don't spell it that way. And I remember going back to my manager saying, we have a problem. And he looks at me and said, what's the problem? The users aren't using the system the way it was intended. And we have bad data. And that's a problem. And he's like, this is your first week, right? I go, yeah, it is. So I started learning pretty quickly that it wasn't just about, build it and they will come. You really need to understand what is the reason why they're doing this, and how do you actually help the users learn how to, have better data quality as part of the everyday and not just something extra. So, through my career, I've done everything from, BI and reporting to project management, change management, data migration. In fact, our company, Cinity, we are the de facto standard in data migration.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's not about ETL, right? ETL is, technical, take data from point A, change it to what you need, put it in, and transform it. But it's really around all the people in the process around it. And, ETL sounds expensive. It's like your chapter 1 of your book, right? We need a golden record. That sounds expensive.
That sounds expensive. Yes. That's my tip to people. If you're talking to your CEO and you start talking about a golden record,
it's not good. So one thing I'll talk about at the conference is,
don't get us wrong. So when we talk about how we talk about it, we're just trying to give you tips on engaging with the business side, so you don't spend a lot of that time explaining what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
And so a golden record, important concept, but playing on that word, if you've never been in this space and you know nothing about it, and you've got an IT person or a data person saying, we need this golden record, it just sounds like this elusive, does it come in silver? Can we get bronze? Do we have anything? So watch the wording you use. It's super important, as in any kind of communication, but especially in the data space where things can go awry almost immediately. Mm-hmm. Think about your anecdote, a report about active customers. And the first thing you ran into was, where's that definition of active? What does active even mean? And then you get to the customer part too. I'm sure there were all kinds of problematic conversations or iterations with your report around, do you have the right customer? Is it the right count? Is it are you using the right level? Which hierarchy level should you be counting? What is a customer? These things start to get out of hand very quickly. These are all the foundational elements of having a good data governance, data management strategy that reinforces the foundation of what your business is all about.
Yeah, absolutely, Scott. Great, well said. And so in a nutshell, at the next at our MDM conference, Master Data Marathon Conference, I will be talking about how to change the conversation.
Yeah.
And two, talking about how to change the conversation around data, because in a lot of ways we've got it backwards with respect to the perception in our customers' minds. There is no CEO or CIO who gets up in the morning and says, I need me some better quality data, right? That's going to really drive my business, right?
Right.
That matters to me. So, we talk about outcomes first, and, forget about finding the value in data. I mean, we work a lot with data science and getting insights from data mining and algorithms and AI and ML. That's all important. But, for a lot of businesses, it's really about, we have things to do. We have outcomes we're trying to achieve. And we all know data is the path to those outcomes, right? Master data is the data that masters. So
it's
justifying the value of data, that's, the best way to justify the value of data is find a business outcome and leverage the power of trusted data to actually enable that outcome. And then you'll get that sign off on that next project, right?
Beautifully put here, Pedro. Now we're going to bring on, so you are the ninja portion of the show. We're going to bring on the nerd portion of the show here, self-described nerd. So Monica K. Royale, here she is. Monica, how are you? Nice to see you.
Hey guys.
Wonderful.
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited for Master Data Marathon 2 dose.
You are live, by the way. You're live right now. This is it. This is your big
I am.
There you go.
Yes. Very
across the globe, Monica.
Okay. This is my first LinkedIn Live. I was telling you guys earlier, so I'm pretty excited for this as well.
You'll be on the agenda. You've got this great nerd nourishment branding that you're doing, data nerd. Just share with people just a little bit around that story and your Monica moniker.
Yeah, definitely. I am Monica. I am the data enthusiast, creator of Nerd Nourishment, which kind of sparked after I leaned all into being a content creator on LinkedIn one day. I was like, let's go for it. And it kind of snowballed into, let's create a hashtag with a cool name. I'm a nerd. I'm also a foodie and like to nourish myself. So if you nourish your mind, that's kind of where the whole nerd nourishment came from. So I just rolled with that name. And then later on, kind of that evolved into a blog. So now Nerd Nourishment is a blog, and hopefully one day I can create that into some kind of learning platform or formal learning platform for the data community. So pretty excited for what's to come there.
Wonderful. Great aspiration. So everybody on LinkedIn, make sure you follow Monica, follow the Nerd Nourishment hashtag. She puts out her interesting perspective. And you've got to follow all of us there to get the total picture. We're all aligned on the value of data, but we all have our little twist on it. So what do you do with data every day, Monica? Why don't you on your
I have a bit of a unique background. So I started off in audit and technology. So that only shows that data is literally everywhere. So in audit, what I do is use data in order to test policies and procedures to make sure that those are working correctly. So master data management is really important for what I do because you want to have that data quality. You need to have the completeness and accuracy of your data in order to test to make sure that those procedures and policies are working according to how they're written. So yeah, data quality for sure. And the other part is data literacy. So what we do to test those policies and procedures is create those analytics, see if there's any anomalies, any trends, make sure everything's working according to plan. And then we give those analytics to the auditors. And the auditors then take those and they need to understand how to read them, work with them, analyze, argue with them. The quick definition of data literacy. So that's another side of what we do, is kind of educate the auditors and the users of those analytics on how to use them in order for them to conclude on their audit reports.
The audit, this is high stakes stuff. This is not,
Yep.
It's when you think about where people use data, I categorize it in 3 different areas for a business. How does it help the business grow? How does it help the business improve? And then how does it help protect the business? I'd put audit probably in that protection side, mitigate risk, compliance.
Exactly.
These things can have dire consequences versus a marketing use case in a lot of ways. What's the worst thing you can do in marketing? Send the wrong message to the wrong person. It's not, again, the stakes aren't quite as high, but when you get to that risk side, you got to make sure that data is trustworthy, right? It's got the truth.
Exactly. Garbage in, garbage out. So you need to make sure that data quality is up par.
That explains it all. That's it. Garbage in, garbage out, for sure. Let's bring Pedro back on here as well. We got the 3 of us. There we go. So have you two ever worked together? What's your, I know you've got some connection there. And Pedro, didn't you reach out to Monica, see if she wanted to join us? How did that all work?
No, we've never worked together, but I think 2020 taught us many things, and one of the things was the value of data. I think in our everyday, how important it was with COVID-19. The other piece is the power of community. So, Monica is just one of those thought leaders out there who, came across my feed, noticed she had great things to say, had, value she was bringing the community. And yeah, definitely reached out to her and said, you're the type of voice that we want to have at the Master Data Marathon. And she, hesitant a little bit at first, but embraced the opportunity to move outside her comfort zone a little bit. And she is, she's a natural, like so many folks on LinkedIn. I think, Scott, when you look at 2020, us all coming, from a physical perspective, locating, in one place. From an online perspective, we really came together as, closer than ever, I think. So I would say now, when I look at coming into 2020, I might have had, 700, 800, 900 kind of, folks in my kind of LinkedIn community, now, well over, 5,000, nothing like what you have, but, and those are, valuable connections that we're connecting with regularly, whether it's, Monica, whether it's, you talked about George, Furrican, he was Furrican awesome, what he's doing for master data from a governance perspective and the value he's doing with lights on data. You talked about Susan and the stuff that she's done, classification, so critical. Kate Strash, there's just so many. I hate to name names because I'll miss people, but, and we're all about teaching the community. I think Monica, you said it well, right? Is what can we give to the community? I think, you ask people, are you a dog person? Are you a cat person? You kind of get a sense of kind of, maybe their character. You ask someone who, are they a data person? I think in the past we had this, Monica, you said, nerd nourishment, kind of nerd and kind of things that we do. I think data is cool now. And, we have very cool people doing very cool things with data. So I think this is a great opportunity for all of us to come together and just learn from each other. So Monica, thrilled that you're going to be joining us. Me
too. I'm super excited.
Monica, what's your session about when we get to the marathon? What do you plan on talking about?
Yeah. So I plan on covering how to become a master of data. I am super passionate about continuous learning. So we'll go from end to end, how to get started with learning with data if you're breaking into data science or the data field, or if you are already an established professional. We'll talk about how to continuously learn, what active learning is, how to be productive, create habits, and then how to apply what you've learned and contribute to the data community.
Zowie, okay, and you have like 20 minutes to do that, right? So it's the whole.
I know, I'll pack it. I'm good.
Right, so, all right, good. So that's worth 143.5 euros alone, I would suggest to folks. Wonderful. So what else can we say? We're kind of wrapping up here a little bit. Any thoughts on what else people can be doing lately as they try to, keep those connections going?
I think, Scott, one thing I've been challenging, my colleagues and my community to do is, really embrace LinkedIn as a platform for learning. And, one of the things also is, and I'll be talking about it at the conference, is not just changing this, the talk track and the conversation about data for your customers and for your business, but also for yourself as a data professional. So things, simple things, like, and you've talked about this too, Scott, right? Updating your LinkedIn tagline, right? Your headline to actually talk about, why you do what you do, not just your job title. Really starting to, create a unique voice for yourself, like Monica's done with, Nerd Nourishment. I love it, right? But again, the idea is, we're all learning and helping each other get better. So I think that's a theme in 2020 that's going to continue in 2021, which is continuous learning. Folks like, Christina and her kind of book a week, I'm trying. I've got, lots of books here, that I'm always trying to read, right? I can't get quite to a book a week like she does. I'm not sure how she does it. But, it's important to keep learning.
Here's Natalia's tip for 2020. Learn more about Synity. So there you go.
Synity.com.
A good producer who has sponsors. That's for sure. Monica, what was your last couple blogs about? Just kind of what are some of the topics you should dive into what you do? You found that you really want to
getting started is a big one that I have. Motivation, how to get motivated, how to keep going. Those are two big ones that I had. I also review a lot of events that I go to. So what 2020 brought was a lot of these virtual conferences. So you really don't have any excuse than to attend these virtual conferences because you don't have to travel. I mean, you still have to pay, a few bucks, which is fine. Totally worth it. Virtual, sit in your home. You could be in your PJs, have a blanket if it's cold, and just nerd out, learn things. I love the virtual conferences. So I do have a couple of reviews of virtual conferences, like Kate Strachny's last date that we did, and then she has another one coming up in February. So yeah,
for sure. Yes, as I like to say, since we can't go anywhere, we can be everywhere. And that's what I encourage people to do.
That's a good thing about the Master Data Marathon being 24 hours too, is because everyone in their time zones, you'll be able to attend you can attend the whole 24 hours, or you can attend throughout the chunks, but attend.
Absolutely. And that was part of our point and our vision when we did the first one, which was to have something live for everybody across the earth, literally. And even though it might be the middle of the night where I'll be broadcasting, it's, the morning somewhere else. So it was fun, and to get people to come in and out. We've got a great platform that we've engaged with to enable a lot more networking, breakout rooms, little virtual tables with seats around them that everybody can get together on. We'll have more breaks. We'll have more folks. We learned a lot from that last one, and the thrill of just getting it done. Now we know we can do it. Last time, I will tell you, there was a question. We had a lot of these meetings about, okay, can we stay up? How do you practice staying up all night? You can. I watched training tapes from the Jerry Lewis Peloton, but that didn't help me too much. Coffee helps, but there's only so much of that you can do. What powers me, what powers a lot of people in this space, is the enthusiasm and the passion we have for the topic that we cover, and that can get you through a lot. So as Natalia mentioned, see you all at the Master Data Marathon. Sorry, Pedro, to cover you up there. I kind of like that, though. That works nice. I should try that. So we'll run through it here. It's great seeing both of you. Again, the Master Data Marathon. Get the Pro Pass, 24-hour access, plus access for another 9 months or so afterwards to see all the videos. We've got a tremendous lineup coming, all focused on master data. So if you're in master data, metadata, reference data, data governance, data management, data RDM, PIM, all those foundational piece parts, or if you're on the analytics side, the data science side, the machine learning, the AI side, you want to realize why you're spending 90 to 120% of your time munging data that isn't quite correct. You can learn more about the foundational aspects of enterprise data management to be able to leverage that better content. So either way you slice it, right now we've got a promo going. Go to the ThinkLinkers site, register there, get a good seat up front. 30% off with MDM30. Make sure you use that promo code for the Pro Pass. A lot of great topics. I think yours on here. Becoming a master of data. There it is right up there, Monica. Our wonderful partners right up there first. Again, the Fire Elite. Fire, by the way, means we're going to have a fireside chat. That's what the fire level means. You're on fire. We're going to have a fireside chat, so that'll be fun. Our wonderful speakers, and again, Master Data Marathon 2.0 coming March 24th and 25th. It will actually be on the 24th and 25th at the same time during some of that period, thanks to time zones. 2021, thank goodness we're in 2021, and we're moving on from there. Any parting words from our guest, the Nerd and Ninja episode? I want to thank both Monica and Pedro for their time, for their insight, for their passion, for their support of this crazy thing that we're doing. Let's pull us back on here. There we go. One more full shot there. So,
Scott, I think you said it well. We have to, this is a you got to be there event. I'm going to be talking about unlocking the value of trusted data, how to change really the conversation about data in a real way, whether you're talking to the CIO, whether you're talking to a colleague, whether you're talking to a customer. And this is value for the money. There is nothing out there that compares to this. 24 hours of video, and times two, and you think about, it's like your own Netflix stream that you're going to have of just data, your own data channel. So, and you said 9 months after, it's an amazing resource.
We hope it's contagious. This is word contagious used in a positive setting.
In a good way.
In a good way. Spend more than 15 minutes with us for sure. But it's all virtual, so we'll all be safe. Anyway, thank you both so much. Everybody out there, Scott Taylor, Data Whisperer, thanking you for the time that you've spent with us, talking to the nerd, talking to the ninja, talking to the Data Whisperer. We all got a data moniker out there. Master Data Marathon 2.0 coming your way. Make sure you get the Pro Pass 30% off, and we will see you all next time. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.